Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we are going live. Mel is adjusting the sign. I'm scratching my face. There's rain in the air. Well, there's not rain in the air, but there's the smell of rain in the air.
There is, or there was yesterday. Definitely.
And according to the main calendar portal, you can request whatever kind of rain you like.
Rainstorm.
And you are requesting whatever kind of rain you like. So there. So, I don't know about you people over there, but over here it's September. It's spring.
Yeah.
Happy spring starter. Happy spring starter. But for you people over there, it's autumn starter. Oh, that's beautiful.
Pumpkin.
Time for all the leaves to fall. Seems like, yeah, it doesn't seem like long ago people going, oh, power up for the summer, woohoo, for you guys. And now the leaves are about to fall again. Oh, thinking about rain and leaves, it makes me just think when we're at Gramercy, the immediacy of the effect of the rain. You know, like when the leaves were already turned. Well, one thing, how quickly the leaves turned, but then how quickly it went from when the rain came, when the storm came, how quickly all the leaves fell to the ground and turned into a leaf light.
And those big, stark, spindly trees with no leaves.
And, of course, here we just had a weekend where it was summer. Not summer, but it's very different in our street from hot to cold.
Yeah.
And there was a beautiful morning. We surfed the other morning where everyone was out and about in the street and people were coming and going. And, you know, I think I said hello to about 6 or 7 people that I haven't seen for
out of hibernation.
A couple of months. Yeah, everyone was like out of hibernation. It was very sweet.
I watched this beautiful documentary maybe yesterday or the day before about France, and they had one of my animal energies, I don't know what you call it. When I go into spirit world, I'm a little brown bear, or it's very dark brown bear. But anyway, so we were watching this documentary about France, and they had these beautiful bears, and he'd just come out of hibernation. He was very hungry, and he found some worms. He used to eat worms. I'm thinking, oh yes, that's definitely, I can connect to that experience.
When you read Melanie's new book about medicine, being medicine, you'll read the first paragraph and go, oh yes, look, she did eat worms on her chubby little legs.
I did eat worms. I found them very tasty. And then the next thing it got to, what did it find next? Raspberries.
We had raspberries the other day dipped in chocolate.
Yes, they are one of my favourites. And then it found some ants. I'm not sure if I've ever eaten ants, but I do remember being fascinated by honey ants when I was very little. Yes, and it just went on this amazing journey. But it's a beautiful documentary, just about how rich the land is. It goes all through the Pyrenees and just all these amazing footage of geese as you're kind of flying next to them. Well, I'm not sure how they got that footage, but it's just beautiful. Like these geese are here and the camera's here. Yeah, so if you get a pang, you want to find it.
Some of the geese doing their thing.
They were flying, yes. They were doing their thing. And they were looking after their family. And one was a little rogue girl, and she kind of wandered off too far to explore, and they took off, and the mum realised she wasn't there, so she had to come back and get the daughter. Like, it's just beautiful, the way that it's filmed and narrated, and it's just lovely.
So those geese are committed to each other. They are committed. And today's question was, dun, 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 dun. The 3 things you need to know that whatever you are committed to is serving you perfectly. Well, that's not actually a question. People will have a problem with me for actually not having calling it a question when it's not a question. And the next question, which is really a question, is, are you walking your talk? What emotional reaction do you have when someone says you're getting exactly what you want? Probably a big reaction if you're anything like me. And yes, are you walking your talk? Well, if you're talking about it, you can't be walking it, can you?
No.
You must be just talking about it. So that's fabulous, isn't it? To know that if you're talking about it, you're probably not walking it, you're just talking it. Hey, yeah, so what are we going to do about that? I don't know.
Well, I just go, I know you want the 3 things. I know you want the instructions. I know you want...
I want the answer to why.
Do you want the answer to why?
Why? Why is life like this for me? Why me? Why me?
What are you committed to? And I think that's what it comes back. You're asking, why is this happening to me? What are you committed to? Because the evidence of that is going to be in whatever's manifesting.
Well, I thought I was committed to finding love. That's what I thought I was committed to, finding love.
Yeah, well, the finding is an action when nothing is ever found.
Oh, yeah, well, that would make sense.
So you can be committed to finding love for the rest of your life and never have it.
Jeepers creepers. I was just thinking something else then about similar with the kids yesterday. Well, we were just doing group work where they had to solve a problem in a group, and we talked at the end of that about what are you committed to? Are you just committed to getting the job done in the fastest time, getting the job done in the most efficient way? Were you committed to looking after the other people in the group? Were you committed to making it fun? Were you committed to having everyone else's best ideas being heard, using their gift or using their talent to get the job done, whatever? We're just talking about that in that group work situation. What is it you are committed to?
How did they feel into that?
Oh, I guess, there was that other sense too. Like, there was a couple of different things we were doing with them at the time, because we also did the, put up your hand if you feel like no one in your group listened to you. Point to someone if you think they took over the group and they're being bossy. I hate to laugh, but it's funny because it makes people cry sometimes, like if they've been being really bossy and everyone points at them. But then we have the conversation with them as well about the fact that, things aren't as they seem. And yes, one thing is you may be being overbearing and bossy and trying to control the group. Have a think if you are. But also it might just be that you're a really good organiser and you can see the solution to the problem and you want the group to get organised, and you're in a group where everyone's just lazy and messing about. So you tell them what to do because you know the art. You feel like you can see a solution for the group and you can see the group succeeding, and you can see what everyone needs to do to succeed at the problem you've got to solve. So maybe it's just that your whole group's lazy. Then they go, interesting. So just that sense of trying to, wanting to see things from all different angles, being able to come in from all different angles. I'm not sure what that's got to do with the first thing you said.
I don't know, because I just think any explanation where I am what I am because other people is taking you down the path outside of your experience. Somewhere that's one way of just going, oh yeah, I am what I am because of someone else. Because someone inspired me, or because someone abused me, or because something didn't happen, or what I don't have, or... I don't know, I just feel like that explanation takes your power away. There's a way to have that explanation that's inside. The way we talk about feeling loved, even the love languages, the way we talk about, being bossy, because that's the way that you've learnt to get the love language that you recognise as feeling loved. rather than having it as because of what someone else is doing. I just think it empowers you more somehow. You know, like there's a... It makes it less about what do you need to change and control outside of you, and more about that self-awareness. And that whatever is going on out there isn't happening to you. I think there's something very empowering about that. I mean, even when we say what are the three things, there can't be three things outside of yourself. They have to be three things that happen inside of you, or that happen in some consciousness or action or some connection to your experience. Because even though we were talking before and saying, don't ask that question, why? You know, there are times that you're going to be asking why, and I'm not sure that it's about those rules. Even the judgment thing, the judgment thing, dropping that helps you get back to a place where you can experience the world outside of what's happening to you, so you can understand it in a different way. But it's not like that's one of the rules that you have to abide by in order to have the experience of having a conversation, because there will be moments where that happens. It's whether that stuff disconnects you or, feels distressing. You know, like the other day I had an experience where all I could focus on was what the sensations and visions that I was having. I couldn't focus on anything else that anybody else needed. And my body required, in order for me to be there doing that, to walk around in circles and go, which is perfectly fine. There's no distress in that. You're doing exactly what you need to be in that moment, being whatever you need to be. I think there's a difference. Like, you could be in that vision experience and freak out about it, thinking that you should be somewhere else, that you should be able to pay attention to everything else that's happening, that you should be, anything other than what's going on. I think that's where the experience is outside, where we're trying to control it or change it or make it look a particular way. But if you need to walk around in circles and go to be in the moment, then that's what you need to do. And kind of surrendering to that, like knowing that that's what you need to do to be in that moment, and that nothing else is important. There are no other protocols or rules or social norms that are important apart from what you need to do to be in that moment. And it's not to disregard all of the people around you, it is to respect them by doing what you need to do to be in that moment. Because if you start playing into other areas of politeness or expectation, I mean, that's your story that you're telling about what you think other people need. But it's confusing. It's confusing for other people if you're playing one thing and getting messages to be something else. Then we all have to expend a lot more energy trying to figure out what's really going on for you. So what are the three things? Whatever you're committed to is already serving you, whether you can see it or not. What are you thinking?
I'm just thinking about that most people don't have that experience at all. They've never been a sovereign being. They've never been allowed to feel what they feel. I mean, you know, you can say, yes, of course they have, you can do whatever you like, but the protocols of this culture are that those kids in school are not allowed to feel what they like. In your families, you are not. You are guided to feel specific things, and very strongly. Like, if you don't, you're under threat. So even in relationship, you know, there's threats. There's a whole lot of things playing out that are like, be a certain way, or this will disintegrate. And I think, you know, that's the same for many of the institutions that we go through in our lives, whether it's work or study or other people's families or community groups or whatever. There is protocols in place that funnel you down a certain road of behaviours.
So we've never been taught overtly.
Well, we've never even been taught. I mean, look at sickness is one of the most extreme examples where people get sick and they push on through and they don't even let themselves feel what their body's telling them at that extreme end of the spectrum. You know, it feels like an extreme end of the spectrum because your body's saying you're going to break down unless you do something differently. Yeah. But they take medication, or they'll, you know, push on through to get to work or to get the kids to school or whatever. Whatever's to do the right thing by society, you know, to look like they're holding it all together and handling it. They'll keep pushing through and not even listen to those very strong,
I think part of that
messages
is
in their body.
The label sickness. Because, I mean, a lot of that is a cycle. Your body naturally goes through a cycle of detox, or it naturally goes through a cycle of regeneration, or it naturally goes through a cycle of hibernation. So there's a whole heap of them, and it's not like a standard thing that you can say every 3 months for every person on the planet. It's going to be different for each person with their own genetic makeup, in their own cultural situation, with their own environment. It's going to be unique to you and your experience, and your body knows what it is, so whether you're tuned to it. But I think for me, like, even the labeling of the experience as sickness just diminishes the fact that your body is going through a majestic process. There is something magical about being able to slow down and be in a fever. I love, that's one of my favourite places to be, is in a fever. It's an amazing experience. And like, even throwing up, like, there's a whole series of sensations between that roller coaster feeling you get in your guts that it's just about to drop, and then as you're expelling all of this stuff from your body, there's this, your whole body is not activated, what's that word? Engaged. So all of the muscles in your body are engaged, and everything is, and then
you certainly can't be anywhere else but in the moment.
Yeah, but it's an amazing, like, if you actually surrender to what was going on, it's a magic. I mean, I'm not saying it's erotic. I'm saying it's a magical experience. And the nausea, just like when it drops, like the roller coaster just before, that's the bit that I'm still, I just go, that, can we just rush over that bit? That's the bit that's most difficult for me to be in. But you can't, I want to get to the bit after, because the feeling, like, of actually expelling all that stuff from your body, and the feeling afterwards where you can feel all of the fluids coming to the surface of your skin, and your body seems to shimmer. I don't know. It's a...
Okay, we'll just take a 5-minute pause. I'm going to throw up now. Helen is so actively enlightened us with that experiential moment.
But what I mean is, it's no different to any other experience, and if it's part of my body's cycle, if it's doing its job, then why would I don't know, like, I just go into the...
But I think we're back to why again, because some people will go, why am I sick? Why am I having this cold? No, but the thing is, and particularly at the moment, it just feels like there's a lot of energetic movement on the planet, and people are, as you say, walking around in circles, breathing heavy, their legs are kicking, things are shaking, like they're having experiences like I know at Gramercy, you know, most of us would get up in the morning and go, oh, what was happening last night? We were all lying in bed having some kind of catharsis for ourselves for a few, several hours, if not all the night. And there was no sleeping done at times, where it felt like we were downloading spiritual, whatever you want to call it. We were in a process of energy exchange, and whether that was release or bringing in, or who knows what it was. There's no kind of finding out why, really. You don't need to know why. You just need to accept you don't even need to accept the experience. You just have the experience that you have. But I think there's a sense at the moment that people are very there's a sense that they're happy to be sick physically, because you can find out why, and you can deal with it, and you can have medication, and you can handle it somehow. But there's a lot of people having that spiritual, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, those energetic movements at the moment, and they don't know what to do with it. And all they know is to label it crazy or not crazy, or depressed or not depressed, or, there's a whole lot of things. Like even a friend of ours the other day was saying, I've gone and got myself diagnosed with Asperger's, because now I can just say to people, hey, I'm Asperger's, don't ask me why. Don't make me explain. Don't try and change me back to something else. Don't try and fix me. Don't try and do anything with me. Here's a diagnosis that says, this is what I am. You can put me in the box. Thank you very much. Continue to treat me as if I'm going about my normal day, but don't try and change me. Don't ask me why. Don't try and figure it out. Just let's get on with it. So there was a sense that even for her, whatever experience she's having in her life and the way she engages that experience, everyone else wants to know why. Everyone else wants to try and fix it back to normal, try and squeeze it back into the normal kind of paradigm, whatever. And I think that's, for a lot of people at the moment, of course when they get sick, but also when they have any experience that they can't explain from, 1 + 1 = 2.
No, but it's the same as the cycle of diurnal life. Like if you get tired at night and have to sleep, it's not like part of you goes, oh, damn it, I'm sick, there's something wrong with me. I sleep 8 hours a night. There's something wrong with me. Well, it's the same with all the other cycles that go on. They're just cycles that your body needs to go through. They're things that your body needs to do in order to have its function. They're not sickness. You can label them whatever you want, but...
And particularly interesting around that, like being the beginning of spring and all the rest of it, there are cycles that our body underwent when we were on a natural time clock. When we were waking up with the sun and being awake when the full moon was on, and, we were in effect of the natural cycles in a very different way to what we are now with our electric lights and alarm clocks and different things throwing us into a different rhythm. That sometimes even now, if we are tuned into the moon or we're tuned into the tides or the seasons, and we have an experience where we're awake at some odd hour and like, what am I doing awake? I'm not supposed to be awake. I've got to sleep all night. I've got to go to work tomorrow. Oh my God, I've got things to do. How can I be awake now? We throw ourselves into that anxiety and distress. But actually we're awake because the moon just came past our window. Yeah. And we didn't even, we weren't even aware. We jumped up, turned on the light, went, what happened? Yeah. And we're not aware that the moon has just passed over us, or whatever that, so many things, so many cycles that we are, Indigenous people knew that the wattle seed was just opening up. Something about that would be a part of them that meant many things, just was part of their cycle.
But I think it still is. It's just that we don't know that that's what's happening.
Yeah, and I don't think for them it was yes, I get it now. I know this is what I'm meant to get up and do now because I can smell the wattle seed opening or whatever the palaver was. It was just integrated. It was fully embodied and integrated. It was just part of what the flow of life. Yeah. Makes me want to break out into some. The circle of life, wheel of fortune.
Do you need your xylophone?
Yeah, if I could play it, I wouldn't need it. Unfortunately, I can't play it, so I can jing around on it. Jing around. So what are we committed to? Are we walking our talk? Good question.
And what was the last bit?
The last bit was, what emotional reaction do you have when someone says you're getting?
What emotional reaction?
Well, generally for me, I get angry. No.
Yeah.
It's pretty common for me to get, someone says, this is yours, have it. Don't try and push it out onto me. I'll go, like that. You know, I'll rush off, go and hide in my cave.
Mm.
And then I'll come back and go,
That's exciting.
Yeah, it was really fun. So what reaction do you have when we tell you that?
I just go, I know that it's true, so I have to get very still. So I don't know what emotion that is. I'm not sure if you can emotionalize it. But I guess it feels like certainty. It feels like support. It feels like order. Feels like I don't need to move anything around or make anything happen. I'm not sure what emotion that is. It feels like it's easy and simple and makes perfect sense. And I'm grateful.
Oh, I'm sure there'll be hundreds of people rushing out to buy your book right now because they're all going, fuck me, where the fuck does she get that shit from? Fucking simple and easy and fucking right. Give me a fucking break. I don't understand why all this is happening to me. What the fuck just happened? Why is it going like that? I didn't expect it to go like that this morning. What the fuck was that? I think most people in the world just feel like they're getting thrown wild cards out of the blue and they have no... They spend their whole life scrambling around trying to go, why is this happening to me? I've been doing everything I could think of, and why now? Why did I react like that? Why did they react like that? Why did that happen like that? Why did that car pull out in front of me in traffic? Why? There seems to be a lot of why going on in the world.
Goodness.
So I guess that is just that difference between when you feel like the world is happening for you, you don't question why. But when you feel like the world's happening to you, you are going, why?
But I guess that's, you know, that because the first part of the blurb said, how do you know, what is it? Something about being committed to.
Sorry, people, I just touched a button I probably shouldn't have touched. Ha! That's what we all say at the end of that big reaction, isn't it? Oh, whoops, I just poked a button I wasn't supposed to poke.
What happened?
Oh, okay, technical interlude. We've got our screen up. Hello, we can see ourselves talking to you. And then I went to change the other screen that says what we're talking about today, but I pressed one of the buttons on the panel.
Okay.
The stop. I thought I pressed it to change over, and I thought I pressed stop. I didn't press stop, so it was all right. But then I had to try and just check, which was a bit confusing for everyone by the looks of it. Why did you do that? We were on the floor there. What happened? So the question, the third thing, the first thing.
No, I can't remember now. What was I going to say? The three things you need to know.
Well, we were just talking about the before the button pushing. Before the button pushing.
Oh, lots of why.
Yeah, and I just go back to that sense of in your assessment of any situation, there's not a lot of why.
Because that's what I'm committed to. That I know I get exactly what I want.
Mm. Yeah, and
so I don't have a reaction.
But I just feel like
that's why it's true.
That's why I said other people would be rushing for your book, because they go, fuck, I never get what I want. I try so friggin' hard, and the universe seems to be coming at me from all angles with tests, challenges, lessons to learn, obstacles. How could I be getting what I want? Like, for most people, they think that they're, like I said before, I think I'm going for love. I think I'm going for happiness. I think I'm going to support my family. I think I am committed to,
but you said finding love. Committed to finding love. Which means you will always be committed to finding, not having.
Oh, well, getting my job right, like, whatever it is, if it's just that one word in the sentence that's sending me down a bum steer path, then I would like to change that word. So tell me how to change it. I think that's where most people are coming from, is they're going, I want the solution. I want to know how this works, why it works, why it's working. And a lot of people have put a million tons of effort. They've spent their whole life seeking the solution to their problems.
Yeah.
And still feel like, they get to a certain plateau and they go, oh, yeah, now I get it. Now things are working for me. Now the universe is doing it for me. And then they go, oh, crap, down in the gutter again. How did that happen? I thought everything was going. I thought I'd figured out I thought I'd unlocked the puzzle of life. I got the next goal, I hit the next plateau, whether it's, career, money, health, relationship. It's like, oh, I sorted that one out. What next? I sorted the next one out. What next? Oh, come on. Like, it either feels like things get kept throwing in to put a spanner in the works, or there's another mountain to climb, And the challenges for people are the same. Like, they feel like they're on a hamster wheel somewhere. Feel like they keep running into the same obstacles.
I don't know. I just go, there's so much in.
Back to our questions.
Well, no, because whatever you're committed to because it works. And it works because it represents the ways that you know how to have an experience of feeling loved. And if you want to have a different experience of that, then you can realize that all of the commitments that you have made are serving you, and how they're serving you, and then make a different commitment to have a different experience of feeling loved. But even within that idea that there's a spanner in the works, or there's a mountain to climb, or there's a life lesson to learn, I find it difficult to understand the universe as a test. Like, there's no separation between mind, body, and experience. It's not like you can say, oh, it's all about being present in my body and not thinking, or it's all about cognitively understanding my behavior and not being subject to my emotions, or it's all about spiritually ascending and not being affected, or whatever you want to call it, not being present to my human experience. All of those things have to be part of this moment. If any of those things aren't there, it's, I don't know, it becomes a test. It becomes a, what am I keeping out? What am I keeping in? What's more valuable than that? There is nothing more valuable. There are no, I find it very difficult. And about I don't know if we talked about that last week, the CBT. Like the idea of reward and punishment.
What do you mean by CBT?
Cognitive behavioural therapy.
Thank you. Which is what? Can you perhaps?
Well, which is based on reward and punishment, reinforcement. The concept of, in order to give up smoking, you either reward yourself for behaviour that's in line with that, or you punish yourself for behaviour that's not in line with that, and you can do both. And it's a behaviour modification process. But it can help with relationships and all kinds of things. But I just can't see the universe operating on reward and punishment. I find it very difficult to see that that's how it's doing its job. It feels like spiritual hurting, and I'm not sure that that's how it works, because the thing that we respond to most immediately and with the greatest verve is being reminded of how magical we are. So even in our immune system, all of that ability to sing comes from knowing how magical you are. It doesn't come from rewarding, like getting a lollipop for doing one thing or getting time out for doing another. Like, there's a sense that there's another option. You can operate from that space. We're just knowing that there is no wrong, that there is no need for you to be someone you're not. And that whoever you are is that part of you that's effortless.
And I'm just wondering, like, because when you say that, I go, the first thing I was thinking was, are there any other forms of, I was going to say behaviour modification operating on the planet? And then I was just thinking, well, there's so few people operating outside of that paradigm, either in their environments or within themselves. Like, you know, like they're trying to manipulate environments by rewarding and punishing, whether it's activists, you know, like whether it's in schools, whether it's in business, whatever. You know, even the places where they're being most innovative and creative, the systems are still systems of reward and punishment. I don't see any other. You know, when I reach out and feel into it, I go, is there anything else happening here? And I go, no, there's nothing much else happening here. I don't know.
Well, the only examples are like when I did the sociology unit on culture and healing, they did the Azande and a few other tribes.
But and I'm sure they've all been wiped out.
No, they still exist.
They don't exist in that form, though, because they've had to buy into the other system somewhere. We've all bought into a system of reward and punishment, and we are ongoingly rewarding and punishing ourselves.
But the way that they deal with transgression is that they remind the person how magical they are. They sing them their heart song. They tell them how loved they are and how much love is in the connection of them being part of that tribe. Like it's a very different way of operating to putting someone in jail or.
I mean, and that's where people would go, but how can that operate when those other systems have usurped to them?
But I'm not talking about changing systems. I'm just talking about understanding that there is another way, and that it is a more immediate and the way that it operates brings you back to that space that you want to be in, where you don't need to ask why, where you know that you get everything that you want. That's what it does. And if that's what you want, it feels like that's the most direct way of having that experience, rather than admonishing yourself for what transgressions, what haven't you done, what isn't here, what hasn't happened yet, all of that stuff, focusing on what you think you know, and it's like it's all very simple, even though it feels complicated when you get out into the world like that. I love that Zen. I know I've said it before. Adage about the cup. There is a sense that for the CBT world of reward and punishment, the cup is either half full or half empty. So you're either a positive thinker or you're a pessimist. But for the Zen, it's no matter how much is in the cup is full. It's just what is it full of? Because it's impossible for it to be empty. And I think that's the same thing. Like if you transfer that to those experiences, okay, you can focus on what isn't here yet, what isn't happening, what you haven't got, what you can't do. Or you can focus on what is here, what you can do, what is happening. And somewhere that's enough. Like that is that energy of the tribe singing your heart song. That makes your experience sing. Even with the thing that you want to label sickness, what is happening? What have you got? What can you do? You can hear Hermit's making coffee downstairs.
There's a hermit downstairs making coffee. I can vouch for that.
He's being very quiet.
If you put food at its door, food disappears and a plate appears in the sink as well. There's really someone there. It's not my imagination. It's not our imagination.
But what does that do? Like emotionally, what does that do? Because it feels like sometimes we have these conversations and it still comes back to that just means I'm doing something wrong.
No, I think what I think there's several things that it does, but it throws people into disarray somewhere. It's like a spring clean, you know? Somewhere where you pull everything out and the place looks messier than it did before, and there's all this broken crap and shit that you'd hidden away in the corners all sprayed out across the room and you don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
And it's a bit like what we were talking about last night. If you then say, well, this might be how it ends up being in life, that there's shit everywhere, you know, like there's a mess over here and some broken things over there, and you have to navigate that every time you come in the room. It may be that is the new paradigm, you know, like that is where you're going to operate from. You're not going to get a fancy new closet. You're not going to be able to hide everything back in the corners again. Everything's going to be out, and you're going to be navigating a whole new world that looks very different to the one that you thought it was going to be, you know? I mean, I'll just go back to the love example, but there's that sense that, you know, you fall in love and you go, oh, it's going to be different this time. Everything's going to be perfect. We're going to find a way to, you know, put all the old stuff away, get rid of it, and there's going to be a new shiny thing over here, and it's going to be very different, and everyone's going to walk around smiling and be happy and do beautiful things for the other person. And then things happen and it just turns into the same old shit. I don't mean the same old shit, but, you know, like you're being angry and they're being whatever they be, and you're wandering around banging into each other. And that is the room of love. That is the room of love. If it's not, you're pretending. Yeah. You're trying to please and you're playing a different game. That, you know, you're not really both there being yourselves. You're trying to be someone else to make the other person happy. And then it's like, well, what if? You know, the room's going to be messy forever. There are going to be things there that you know, have to navigate and walk around and figure out where they fit in the room and all that stuff. So I think for people, you know, in as much as it can be a relief to go, oh, well, I'm tired, I have to sleep, or, oh, well, I'm this, there is a sense that the whole rest of the world is still looking at it. And this is, I think, for next week. You know, what do you do when the whole rest of the world is looking in going, you're crazy? Because you are walking around in circles blowing the air out. Or you are sleeping through the day, or you are fucking yelling at your partner who you love dearly. You know, like the whole world's looking in going, oh, put them in rehab, you know, put them in therapy, put them somewhere, put them in the mental asylum. And you're just going, no, I want to have a new experience. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to feel everything. I'm going to have an experience.
Because I think the other thing is, like, some of that stuff comes from believing you live in closed systems. So if you believe that your relationship with another person is a closed system, then that's going to amplify whatever you think is or isn't happening. When you understand that love is in all of your relationships, including inanimate objects, and time, space, experiences. There is a sense that you can understand love in a lifetime, like within this moment, in the lifetime of everything, rather than how much is in this closed system. It's like if you have a relationship with someone and they're the person that stands with you when things don't make sense, but they never ask you to do that for them. There's something else that you do. There's something else, some other energetic swirl that occurs in that holistic system. You don't need to have there is no closed system where you need to reciprocate what it is that is being experienced with that person or that tree or that whatever. There is a sense that whatever swirls here, with you is a dance with the whole system. And I think when you start getting stuck in that closed system of giving and getting, then you start tallying up things, and in this relationship you're superior, and in this relationship the other person is not worth your time, and in this relationship you can see where you're connected, and if something changes then you've lost an equity. And I think that's where some of that distress comes in, because there are no closed systems. I'm not sure if that's making sense on the love front, on the
Walking You Talk Life
goals
front.
And even in that idea of a spanner, like the spanner is your friend. The spanner is part of that swirling. It's not a punishment. There's a sense that it's asking you to dance. And if you can drop into where it's not a closed system, it just makes it simpler. I mean, you still have a physical reaction, but as long as you experience that physical reaction and don't try and ignore it or make it something else, it makes it also easier. Lorinda's about to go to work.
There she goes. Out the door. See you later, Lorinda. Right on schedule for the end of the show. Fabulous work. She's going down the stairs. Doop, doop, doop. It's like one of those mime acts. One day you'll see her do that mime act live on TV. Have a good day. Well, why did we do the show?
Why did we do the show? Overall, or just today?
That was an in-joke, because we started the whole show talking about how in relationship or in therapy, asking the question, a direct why is a confront, is a...
there are very rarely situations that you would ask the question why.
So I'm wondering in life, because even like that sense of where we're all on a reward and punishment system for ourselves around walking our talk. We've got this agenda for ourselves. I'm going to be this kind of person in relationship, this kind of person in my destiny, this kind of person in my family, and we're always kind of ranking ourselves to figure out if we're walking our talk, if we've hit the mark. And then when we don't feel like we hit the mark, we are going, why did I do that like that? Why am I like that? I don't know, maybe this week's the week of asking yourself a different question. What question would you like it to be? I mean, if you are going around asking yourself why, you know, and like really giving yourself a hard time. Why am I always like this? Why does it have to be like this? What could your new question be?
Are you asking me or are you asking them?
I'm asking myself, actually. If I didn't ask myself why, what would I be asking myself? How does this serve me? How does this help me get what I want? How is this proving to me what I believe life in the universe is all about? Anything else you'd like to add to that list of possibilities?
Yeah, I just go, what am I bringing? What am I doing? What is happening? What am I tuned to? I just think about even at school, the way some of the stuff that I do is not necessarily visible. I mean, I know you know what's happening, but there's a sense that it's not visible to the teachers, and it's probably not even something that you can Miss Becca Truly Stewart. Good show. Not even something that you could write or talk about in a report. But I know that I'm doing it, and I know that's what I'm asked to do. So I don't really think about what I'm not doing or what isn't. I mean, I like to check in with you to make sure that you feel supported, because you're the one that's using all your energy to herd the cats. There is a sense
We're going cat herding today.
Yeah.
Grade 3s.
And I love it, but there's a sense that I don't do that side of it. So if Louise needs someone who has that skill, then I will step aside. There's no sense that I need to be precious. But there is a sense that I need to hold on to what it is that I do. I can't do something that I'm not being asked to do.
And it just feels like this is the place where people are at. They know they've got this job to do, which is the unseen stuff, which is the stuff that doesn't look like what it is. You know, like it feels like most people on the planet now open up to their job.
Yeah.
That they're a gift and they're doing their job no matter what they're doing. You know, it doesn't have to look like anything. People get that, but they still have to herd cats.
Yeah.
They still have to look like they're sane, and they still have to look like their relationship is functioning to pay the bills, and they still have to.
They believe they still have to.
Yeah, well, they believe, but the systems are set up. It feels like we've all been herded into that paradigm. And we've chosen to buy it. You know, it's definitely our choice somewhere, but it just feels like there is a push and pull for people, and it's very strong, you know, it is very strong to look like you're winning and look like you're succeeding and look like you're holding it and handling it and holding it all together. Look like they do on the TV shows or the ads or whatever, and to have your experience. And people, I think that's the thing that people are pulled between at the moment, because they know to have their experiences, I don't want to say beneficial, but it's what they're here to do is paramount, is their, you know, it is walking their talk. It is being true to themselves. It is being the essence of who they truly are on this planet.
But see, I think a lot of those I know we're at the end of the show, but there's a lot of those situations of believing that they need to look a particular way is about not wanting to be vulnerable. But it's also about, in this situation, how do I not make it a competition? How do I step out of the competition? Like, because I think one of the most valuable things that my dad taught me that helped me stay focused along the way was never back them into a corner. If there is a situation where, you know, you think you know what's going on, but the other person is not willing to play that game right now, don't back them into a corner. Like, there is a sense that if you are in your heart doing your job, pushing them into that corner is not for them. There's a sense that it's for you and that you need to win a competition. So if it wasn't about winning a competition, if someone else could be funny or look cleverer or whatever it is, and it didn't matter, and you could step down from that competition and know that, because it's like, you know, that, like, if someone says to you, if I said to you, you're a cranky old man, I mean, there's part of you that just goes, well, I'm not a man, for a start. Like, it doesn't go anywhere. It just kind of passes straight through you. So all of that stuff that feels like you need to have that battle and know with full justice that you have stood up for who you are and everybody has the facts. Somewhere it's like, why? You know, that's only important if you're in the competition. What's more important is, you know, like, it's you knowing and not backing them into a corner, not having a battle. If it's about having a battle, just drop. Like, just go, okay, I can see this is just about having a battle. I don't want to have any battles. I'm going to drop that. And I guess then it's about learning those skills of how to be in that situation, recognise that you're in a battle, and how to navigate your way out of it. Because if you're saying that there is that push-pull of believing that you need to look and be the part that isn't the experience, then it is about those skills of how to recognise that you're in there and then figure out how to drop it.
So, next week's show, navigating the battle. Or not, as you wish. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been Miracles of Wonder Down Under once again. Deep conversations for late on a Monday afternoon, early on a Tuesday morning.
It does feel a bit dense. Maybe we need to write about it. Maybe you need to write about it.
Maybe we'll unravel the weave on that one for you later. And we will talk to you all again soon. Oh, if you're feeling dense, you can always contact us.
Yeah. Have a proper conversation. Oh, and in the US, where it's still yesterday.
Yes.
It's World
Letter Writing Day.
So www.worldletterwritingday.com.
And of course, we consider journaling as letter writing. You can write a letter to yourself or anyone of yourself that's giving you a bit of grief or worry. You can write to yourself.
But
that was fun.
It's a fabulous website. Go and check it out.
And
yes. And where do they book for us?
Oh, well, there's several places. There will be, after the end of this week, several places where you can book for us. Of course, any of the Creating Calm Network hosts have all got special offers going up about how you can hang out with them and get opportunities to work more closely with them. So on our Creating Calm Network page. And also our one-on-one sessions will be going up soon.
On miraclesandwonderdownunder.com.
So very soon, but otherwise you know how to get in touch with us. We're all over the net, and we look forward to seeing you again. Ciao.